Welcome everybody to Newcastle on this beautiful Saturday. Along with Jarrett Lewis, I'm Joel Brantingham. Good to have you along. First time I've had a chance to work with you.
It's good to be here, Joel. I mean, exciting game coming up.
Yeah, looking forward to working with you today and enjoying an outstanding Hoosier Heritage Conference baseball game on a beautiful Saturday. I hardly see a cloud in the sky, lots of sunshine, warm temperatures. This is perfect baseball weather.
Perfect baseball weather indeed. This is what you want to see in the month of May. And the month of May certainly is an exciting time, especially in the state of Indiana. But we're playing baseball today. Important HHC matchup between Newcastle and New Palestine. Both teams kind of in the middle of the standings, so not really an important game. Looks like Greenfield Central will come away with the HHC. Pendleton is in second. NEWPAL is in third with a 7-5 conference record. So not a game that matters, but always an important game when it's a conference matchup.
And heading into sectional, I mean, we're less than a week away from IHSAA baseball sectionals getting underway across the state. So you certainly want to be playing your best baseball. Obviously, everybody hopes to either get or remain healthy and finish the regular season on a strong note. New Palestine, coached by Sean Lyons, they have a 13-12 overall record, 7-5 in the HHC, and they lead this game off with Colby Jenkins, who is the catcher. Senior nice 400 average there. As you can see, he's a 4-year starter. Called Male Athlete of the Year this year at NEWPAL. He'll be followed by Zach Neely, the designated hitter. Now that's a strong hit to center field. There the catch is made for out number 1. And Cheshire out there making the grab.
Looks like Jenkins just missed that one. He stayed patient, laid off the first 2 pitches, and barely missed that one. Ball hung in the air, seems like forever.
Now batting for the Dragons, number 11, Zach Neely.
And Zach Neely, the number 2 hitter, DH, out for NEWPAL. And I think Cheshire at center field, it looked like he wasn't sure whether he should come in on the ball or back, or run out. And it looked like he misjudged it at first, and kind of looked like it may have ended up going over his head, but he was able to catch up with it.
Yeah, not very strong wind either. We can see the flags over on the scoreboard. They're just barely blowing towards left field, but an easy can of corn for Cheshire out there.
But certainly enough of a breeze to keep it comfortable, because it is going to be a warm day today. We're expecting high temperatures in the mid-80s, as that's taken for a strike. In fact, I'm trying to find out our current temperature here as we start. 77 degrees as this game gets underway unofficially.
A very warm 10 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah, you don't see that, especially the cool weather we've had. There's a foul pop first base side, and the catch is made for out number 2 by Tyler Thompson, Newcastle. A couple of pop-ups by the Dragons to start off here in the top of the first.
And a very nice start for Huntley, the
19,
starting pitcher, a senior for the Trojans, coming in with a ERA just above 4. This is his 8th appearance. A very nice-looking 4-1 record. He'll look to improve on that. He's facing the opposing pitcher right now in Jack Walker.
An IU recruit takes strike 1. How about the Indiana Hoosiers? For those you follow college baseball, you probably seen them play. I've seen them play on ESPN2, I think, once or twice on a Big Ten network. They have a pretty good program. First-year head coach, and that talk about misjudging a fly ball, that's what happened right there in left field as Walker is going to reach base. And again, that was just flat-out misjudging the ball out there, Chandler Markham, in left field, because he wasn't sure.
Yeah, it looks like
he
tried to
at first.
went the wrong way at first, and when he opened his hip to go the other way, just fell over, lost some traction. But this will be big here if New Palestine can score in this opening inning with Noah Mack up now, a sophomore, batting .430.
Yeah, he is a power hitter. Obviously, that's why he's in the cleanup spot. And he takes that first pitch for a ball. So Mack with an opportunity to get the Dragons on the board here with 2 outs. And runner at second. Fouled straight back to even the count at 1-1. And again, a fly ball to center field. A foul pop to first. First NEWPAL batters retired. And then reaching base, Walker. As the fly ball is misjudged in left field. So again, NEWPAL with an opportunity to get on the board here first, although Mack now finds himself behind in the count.
And he was fooled by that third pitch from Huntley. Looks like he went chasing after something that drifted out of the zone, and now Huntley is in a nice spot, having Mack down 1-2.
He'll step off for a moment, Huntley will. Yeah, hard to believe it's almost the end of the regular season. It's been a difficult one for spring sports coaches and athletic directors as that pitch is fouled off. Spring is never an easy time of year if you're an AD or a coach, just because you never know what the weather is going to be like. It'll be chilly, rainy, and of course there have been a number of games, schools all over the state that have had to either be canceled or postponed because of rain that day or wet field conditions. So that's just a reality that everybody's had to deal with, and I know it's very difficult to get these games rescheduled. Obviously, conference games are the highest priority, but it can be difficult, especially as you get into May, to reschedule some of these games that were rained out as that's fouled away to the right.
Mack's doing a really good job of fouling off pitches that are near the zone, ones that he doesn't like but still has to get rid of in order to see if Huntley can mess up within these next pitches and get a pitch that he can really drive.
Again, the first baseman, the clean spot, swing and a miss. That was a nice job by Huntley. And he strikes out Mack to end the top of the first. So NEWPAL with an opportunity there. They had a runner in scoring position with 2 out, not able to get him home. So Newcastle will come to bat here in the bottom of the first and try to get on the scoreboard first here on this beautiful Saturday. I'll let you know this game will air at 2 p.m. and 7 p.m. on Sunday and at 7 p.m. on Monday as well. And Monday, I'm not sure who will be here, but someone will be here Monday for a broadcast. And then again, sectionals begin across the state of Indiana on Wednesday. We've had some exciting track sectionals, the regionals next week, tennis sectionals taking place this week, and it is that time of year. Talk about being an exciting time of year. It's just so much going on with high school sports and the regular season wrapping up and postseason starting, and obviously there's graduation and a lot of other things going on at our area schools. So we hope that you will go out and support them with their spring sports and activities. And yeah, there will be a number of schools who by this time next week will be done for the school year.
There's so much going on during the month of May. I know playing baseball, you're playing 4, maybe 5 games a week, and it all just happens so fast. And that's what's going to happen here. We're going to see sectional play start up next week, and then once graduation comes, some teams will still be playing, but some teams, most of them, will be done for.
Yeah, so yeah, this next week or two will be really exciting, especially from a high school sports perspective, and hopefully we'll have a lot more days like this and a lot fewer days where it's 20 degrees below normal and raining and windy and all that kind of mess. But we'll have to see what happens as far as that is concerned. So get ready here for the bottom of the first. As the pitcher, Ryan Huntley will lead things off, and he will be followed by Colin Holcomb, the right fielder, and then Drew Barber, the catcher. Those are the 1, 2, and 3 hitters for Tony Gregory, head coach Newcastle's. That first pitch to Huntley is a called strike. 12, 10, and 1 is the Newcastle overall record. They're 5 and 7 in the HHC this year. And Jared, when we get a second, I'll have you talk a little bit about the guy we're seeing on the mound here today, and Jack Walker.
Walker, like you mentioned, the IU recruit, going to play baseball. And one thing I've already noticed is his warm-up pitches looked a lot slower than these pitches that he's given to Huntley right now. Through some straight gas in the first 2 pitches.
There's first-year head coach Tony Gregory replacing Brad King, 16 years. Newcastle.
And even with that pitch right there to Huntley, it missed. Huntley didn't look ready for that. Walker looks like he's rearing back and really giving it to him. But he loses him now as that ball gets away, and he'll head to first on the walk.
Yeah, Huntley turned the corner, so to speak, rounded the bag, and coach said, nope, stay right there. So one thing noticed already, we'll see if this continues with Walker, is as soon as he gets the ball, he's ready to pitch again. And here's Colin Holcomb, the right fielder today, at least to start the game. As Walker throws over to first.
Got the chance to see Walker play basketball just this past season. NEWPAL ended up winning the sectional championship, defeating Mount Vernon. But to talk about Walker, looks real impressive in the stat sheet. 2.62 ERA. This is his 9th appearance. 4-2 on the year, and 60 strikeouts to go along with those 8 appearances. So pretty good strikeout per game number, looks like, for Jack Walker.
He's having a little bit of control issues here. He did certainly to Huntley, especially on ball 4. That was a pretty good looking pitch, and he wanted that call a strike. You could tell by the expression on his face and his body language. He thought that should have been a strike, but it's a 2-0 count now on Holcomb. And that misses ball 3. That is, not sure how many, at least 4 straight pitches he's thrown out of the strikes, or 5, I'm sorry.
Yeah, it's not.
Well, more than that, yeah. Well, it's been more than 5 now. That's a strike.
Not sure if it was, though,
yeah.
from up here.
Could hear the oohs and ahs from the Newcastle crowd over there. So it's 3-1 now to Holcomb. Runner on first, nobody out. Bottom of the first. Now that couldn't have missed by much there. And it's ball 4, so walk. The first 2 hitters for Newcastle have walked, so definitely not the start that Jack Walker or Coach Lyons wanted to see.
And Colby Jenkins doing a nice job going out there trying to settle down Walker. Walking the first 2 batters isn't something you want to see to start this game, and hopefully Jenkins can calm him down. And now you're facing the best hitter in the Newcastle lineup, arguably, and Drew Barber, the catcher.
Yeah, he's a pretty solid player. This is the second time I've seen Newcastle play this year. Yeah, again, this is Drew Barber at the plate. Mentioned pretty good hitter. Yes, he is. That is a called strike to Barber. New Palestine is a team, I think, pretty similar to Shelbyville, at least the scouting report coming in, is that they've had some nice wins. At Cathedral, Fishers, there's a called strike. So Walker may be starting to settle down here just a little bit. But last game was at Bloomington, lost at Bloomington. They played some pretty good teams. Yeah, Bloomington North usually has a pretty good program, but New Palestine, they've had some issues defensively this year. That pitch most likely would have been ball 1, but Barber swung at it and fouled it off to the right.
You can still see the movement on that pitch, just like with the second strike. Barber doing his best to foul that ball away.
Yeah, so again, New Pals look pretty good times this year, and then other times maybe not so much. Up misses for a ball. Barber was able to hold up on that. I think thought momentarily about swinging, but so like you said, this is not a game for the HHC championship. As it's called strike 3. Barber strikes out looking. That's got to feel good for Walker confidence-wise after walking the first 2 hitters and then able to get Barber on a called strike 3.
Right, and especially to get Barber, but now you're facing Dakota Durek, which looks like he's batting over 400 just like Barber was. So with that strikeout, hopefully Walker can gain some confidence and look to do the same right here to Durek.
And Durek, the starting second baseman for Newcastle today. And the Trojans with runners on first and second. 1 out. That kind of floated up there. Catcher throws to second, runner back in plenty of time.
Jenkins looks like he's not afraid to toss the ball anywhere and try and get an easy out on some base running mishaps from the Trojans if you can.
Yeah, those can be big outs if you can catch a runner napping, especially at second base, either second or third. So 2-ball, no strike count now on Durek. 2-1. Walker, it seems like he is starting to get into a little bit of a groove here. Like I said, looks to me more confident than he did to start the game. He checks the runner at second. Back right up the middle. It's going to be a hit. They're going to wave him around third. Here comes the throw. It's not going to be in time. Newcastle takes a 1-0 lead. Exactly what the Trojans needed right there. Durek with a big hit at the right moment, taking advantage of an opportunity there with the first 2 guys reaching base.
It looked like Walker gave him some off speed. That ball seemed to be low in the zone. He went after it, kind of stuck his bat out there, put it up the middle, and the speed from Huntley to score from second puts the Trojans up here in the first inning.
And now the cleanup hitter, Corbin Malott. No, I'm sorry, the number 5 hitter, excuse me. Number 5 here in the lineup. Corbin Malott, who last time I was here broadcasting with Greg Rakestraw, he was the starting pitcher that day and had a very impressive outing against Shenandoah.
Back-to-back curveballs from Walker has Malott down 0-2. You could see it from up here, a crazy movement on that ball that Walker has.
Malott, the starting shortstop for Newcastle today. Walker checks the runner at second. It's well outside for a ball.
Looks like he may have threw him another one there, but that one didn't break towards the zone. It stayed out there.
So, yeah, definitely didn't have the break he wanted. 1-0 Newcastle, hoping to add on here with runner in scoring position and still only 1 out. If he could hit one in the gap in left center field, that would definitely clear the bases. And that's called strike 3. However, that's not going to happen, at least for Malott in that particular at-bat. But I just noticed how far the center fielder was shading toward right. Like, man, he hits on that gap and he'd be running all day. Now Tristan Cheshire, the number 6 hitter in the Newcastle lineup, and the starting center fielder today, steps in against Walker. Starts that bat off with a ball high. Senior, you see, with a .226 batting average. Again, an opportunity. Put at least one more run on the board here, but Walker trying to prevent that from happening. Again, Jack Walker walking the first 2 hitters in the Trojans lineup here in the bottom of the first. One of them has scored. Pretty good pitch there for a called strike. Newcastle fans pointing out to the home plate umpire that that was called a ball earlier in this inning.
And from that angle we just saw in the replay, it looked like it was right at the knees, but still kind of a delayed call also from the umpire. That's probably what Newcastle fans weren't too happy about.
Yeah, a lot of times in just about every sport that even if it's a good call, you'll hear moans and groans from fans if it's a little bit of a delayed call. Walker strikes out Cheshire there to end the bottom of the first. However, Trojans with 1 run on a hit and a couple of runners left. So at the end of 1, it is 1-0 Newcastle.
A working mom who brings her best to both roles. A community-owned telecom that connects her home with high-bandwidth fiber optic. Mom can work from home with fast, reliable connectivity and be there when the kids come home. When everyone logs on, the internet connections stay fast and the family stays connected. 9-Star Connect. Community-owned. Community strong.
Alongside Jarrett Lewis, I'm Joel Brantingham. Glad you are along today. It is a gorgeous Saturday, absolutely perfect weather for high school baseball here in Newcastle as the Trojans lead the New Palestine Dragons in this Hoosier Heritage Contest 1-0 as we go into the top of the second inning. And Jack Walker, I thought Jared again did a really good job settling down. He seemed a bit rattled at first, again walking the first 2 guys, but then settled down and got out of what could have been further trouble in the bottom of the first.
And some of those batters he fell behind against, some of them he got ahead against. So it's really going to be key if for both pitchers, not just Jack Walker, but to be able to get ahead of your opposing batter.
Well, that's what Ryan Hundley does. Rylan Hundley does right here.
Strike was really in on his knees, kind of barely caught that inside corner, but the ump gave it to him.
Jacob Bain, third baseman. He is the number 7 hitter. Do I have, I'm sorry, a little bit further down in the lineup than I should be. My place is Eric Raudebush. He's the number 5 hitter, left fielder. And he gets a hit to start off the top of the second for New Palestine. So again, he's the number 5 hitter. A little bit further down the line than I needed to be. So that's the kind of start to the inning that New Palestine wanted after they were held scoreless in the top of the first. And now here is the number 6 hitter, Grant Wiegand. Excuse me. I'll put an L in there. Foul pop to the catcher. We're out number 1, so short at bat for Wiegand, the second baseman, as he pops out foul territory to the Newcastle catcher Barber.
Not something you want to see if you're Coach Sean Lyons. You get the leadoff man on, a bunt down would put him in scoring position with just 1 out. And at this time of the season especially, you want your guys to be able to put bunts down like that because come sectional time, it's going to be more important than ever. So that'll be something Coach Lyons would probably harp on at some point during this game and then towards the future when sectionals come.
Some people, looks like Bain was going to bunt. This is the number 7 hitter now, Jacob Bain, the third baseman at the plate. I mean, you can call it small ball if you want to, if you want to refer to it as one of the little things in the game. You can, but I mean, that's the situation where it could make a difference. And there is a bouncer to second to step on the back for 1. Throw to first is in time. Double play, nicely done by the Trojans to get out of trouble there.
Jam shot up the middle. Nice play by the shortstop. Wait on it, sit at that bag, and quickly fire over to first.
Yeah, that worked out well because that ball wasn't hit all that hard. And if it was hit like that to shortstop, I'm not sure they could have turned to. I don't know. But anyway, it ended up, as you said, right there at second base. And tailor-made, if you want to call it that, for Newcastle anyway, for the double play. So after NewPal begins the inning with a solid hit, not able to advance the runner. So 1-0 Newcastle, hanging on to that lead as the Trojans get ready to come to bat here in the bottom of the second inning. As you take a look at the Newcastle dugout. And again, we wish these teams and all of our area teams the best as they begin sectional play here this coming week. And hopefully many more days just like this, as reached 77 degrees here and heading toward the bottom half of the second inning. Just a gorgeous day, which I'm glad of, because after today's broadcast, I have to get out and mow because this weather made my grass grow like crazy. So I got to get the lawnmower out and get that taken care of this afternoon, although I have a feeling it's going to be a workout with the warm temperatures.
And you can't wait around and wait to do it the next day, because you never know when it's going to rain. You got to get out and get it over with.
It looks like a pretty good chance of showers and thunderstorms, unfortunately, for Sunday. But, well, just like everybody should on a day like this, they'll need to hydrate. So, especially as we do get into warmer weather, that coaches no doubt emphasize to players, drink plenty of water, as Logan Klein, third baseman, is at the plate now for Newcastle. The Trojans lead 1-0. Bottom of inning number 2 on their home field, as that misses a little bit high. But yeah, definitely, if you're doing anything outside this weekend, next week, Memorial Day holiday approaches, good idea to get in the habit of being prepared for that weather. Worms' breeze is kicking up, which does feel nice.
Yeah, it was gone for a minute, and it's a little bit hot up here in this booth, but let that wind come through the windows and it doesn't feel as bad.
Probably not going to affect fly balls a whole lot, but may assist some hit to left field. You can get one up there in one of these gusts. Full count. Pitch is fouled off to the right by Klein. He'll be followed by Gavin Ridge, the designated hitter.
With that wind blowing left field also, we see Browdebush over there shaded a lot towards center field, but I think that's Coach Lyons saying that with Walker on the mound, these Trojan hitters might not be able to catch up to his fastball, so they're most likely going to be late on stuff. And we see the center fielder also for NEWPAL shaded towards right field. So even with that wind, as you see the strikeout, we're going to probably see a lot of Trojans late on balls with Walker and his heat on the mound.
Yeah, swing and miss, strike 3. Klein, he's out number 1 here in the bottom of inning number 2. And again, the DH, Gavin Ridge, number 8 hitter for the Trojans, steps to the plate.
All 4 outs also have come via the strikeout from Jack Walker here so far. Kind of some quiet strikeouts considering the 2 walks and the RBI single, but 4 already here in the second inning nonetheless.
Yeah, he had several pitches in a row early in the first inning that were out of the strike zone. Looked like he was going to have some control problems, and then teammates kind of helped settle him down, as that's a called strike. And ever since he did kind of take that break, it seems like he's refocused and much more confident and in a rhythm out there on the mound as he faces the bottom third of the Newcastle lineup here in the bottom of the second. A 3-ball, 1-strike count now to the number 8 hitter again in the Newcastle lineup, Gavin Ridge. Chandler Markham, the left fielder, is next. That's ball 4. As Ridge goes to first on the bases on balls. And now the number 9 hitter, Newcastle lineup, Chandler Markham, the left fielder.
It's so interesting to already look at this stat sheet and see Walker has 3 walks but the 4 strikeouts. So you kind of got to think Well, I can attack that first pitch fastball that looks like it's going to come into that zone, or I could stay patient because right now Walker is either in a groove and he's mowing guys down, or he's throwing 5-pitch walks. So whatever I guess you desire is how you're going to approach this at bat.
Yeah, I would think that the Newcastle coaches would try to encourage their hitters to be patient. If they see a good pitch, swing at it. But at the same time, make Walker throw you strikes, which I imagine is a strategy against most pitchers they face throughout the season. And 1-0 as Walker checks the runner at first. 2 balls, no strikes. And that was definitely a situation, Markham, I mean the number 9 hitter, make him throw strikes, and the Coach Lyons is going to go out and talk to him. And just a situation where he wants to try to settle him down and say, hey, remember, this, what happened in the first inning, kind of a similar situation. Just settle down and pitch like you know you can pitch.
Yeah, and going from 3 consecutive Ks to now throwing 6 out of the last 7 pitches for balls. Just gotta let Walker find that focus again, find that groove. Because I mean, you're not just you're not an IU recruit for nothing.
Right.
You got something special going on. So I'm sure he can find that groove again.
Coach Lyons in his 8th year, New Palestine High School. They have a nice tradition of baseball. Marvin Shepler coaching for many years in football, and Al Cooper among others. Have really again done an outstanding job at New Palestine High School over the years. That's a called strike. Whatever Coach Lyons had to say must have worked. At least that, you talk about how many pitches, what was it, 6 out of 7?
Before these 2 strikes.
Yeah, that he had thrown out of the strike zone, and then Coach Lyons goes out and gives him a little pep talk, and he throws 2 straight strikes. Throw a first, runner back in plenty of time.
Walker's got to keep an eye on pretty much any Trojan that would get on base. Trojans have 57 stolen bases this year, which is far more than what New Palestine has, more than 20 stolen bases compared to the Dragons.
And when I've seen Newcastle play earlier this year, that was the case. Is they were running when given the opportunity. That misses ball 4. So now back to the top of the order for Newcastle. Rylan Hunley, the pitcher. And he's got 2 men on base.
Rylan Hunley.
And only 1 out. Now look where the center fielder is. I can't remember the last time, not too often, with a right-handed hitter that you see the center fielder. I mean, essentially he's in right center field.
Absolutely, yeah.
As that just misses for ball 1. So, my goodness, I mean, and if he hits it anywhere between the Newcastle sign and the 385 mark in center field, he might score. Well, he'd clear the bases.
He'll go around a long way, that's for sure.
I'm sure that's exactly what he would love to do here. Again, only 1 out. 1-1 count, 1-0 Newcastle. Bottom of the second. Well, that floated in there and broke nicely for a called strike.
We haven't seen very many of those curveballs from Walker not reach the zone. It's been mostly his command with his fastball that has missed.
And that misses well outside for ball 3, or ball 2, 2-2.
And as I say that, he throws a curveball that's decently outside the zone.
Get an opportunity for Hunley and Newcastle score some runs, and he swings and misses, though. Strike 3. Nice job by Walker to get a big second out of this inning.
Yeah, it's huge with the leadoff man
Now
up.
batting, number 14,
You get that second
Colin
out.
Holcomb.
You still got a decent hitter here in Holcomb to get rid of, but Walker looks like on that last at bat just reared back and tried to just beat Huntley with his best.
Yeah, Huntley and Holcomb, they walked. We talked about control problems Walker had to begin the game. You know, those two guys walked to begin the game as Huntley ended up scoring to give Newcastle a 1-0 lead. Once again, the breeze kicks up. Feels really, really nice. Well, it looked like Holcomb was trying to call a timeout, but the home plate umpire didn't give it to him, and he certainly doesn't have to. But to his credit, he stayed in the box. Again, a two-out opportunity here for the Trojans as runners go. Throw to third is in time. Newcastle fans don't necessarily agree with that call, but
And if I'm going
Coach
to be
Gregory.
if I'm going to be honest, Joe, I don't think I agreed with that call either. From our vantage point up here, it looks like he got under it. Maybe a missed call. The Newcastle faithful doesn't like it, but we still head to the third.
Yep, 1-0 Newcastle. This is 9 Star TV and ISC Sports Network. So, questionable call, at least one that Newcastle coaches and fans disagreed with, as Trojans had a double steal going on there, and a runner at third was thrown out to end that second inning.
I'll tell you what, we had an interesting look there. A nice catch by our replay crew, camera crew. Kind of
Yeah.
away from the slide. Maybe his right foot did catch the bag before he gets tagged.
Or he was off the bag. He may have been off the bag right there. I can't tell for sure if he had part of his arm or leg on the bag. That is a close call either way.
Number 2, Grant.
A really nice catch by the camera crew. Gave us a good angle there. Questionable call, but we play on.
And now NEWPAL, just like they started the second inning, as they begin the top of the third with a base hit in Hickman. So a solid hit to left there
Up to bat, number 16,
by
Henry
the number
Giesler.
8 hitter, and Henry Giesler. He is number 9 hitter in the New Palestine lineup, starting the game in center field today.
The first time NEWPAL gets their leadoff man on. Definitely want to bounce back from that last inning they had. Not very many pitches were thrown by Huntley. We had the pop-up bunt to the catcher, and then you also have the double play, which ended the inning. So kind of want to bounce back from a not very good second inning.
As the Dragons trail here at Newcastle 1-0. Again, very first pitch of the third. Shows bunt, pulls it back. Wise decision, as that's ball 1. One ball, one strike count on Giesler. He puts down a nice bunt first base side. Huntley has trouble, but eventually does shovel it to first for the out. Good job by Huntley of staying with it. He kind of bobbled it at first, but then, like I said, stayed with it, made the shovel on to first for the out.
Now batting, number 21.
Looks like he almost hurried himself going after it, but had plenty of time. Beat the runner by a step and a half.
Yeah, it's definitely a situation where if you can't get the runner at second, you want to make absolutely sure that you get the runner at first. So one out for New Palestine. And back to the top of the order here in Colby Jenkins.
Beautiful block there by the catcher Barber. Looks like Huntley now seeing Jenkins for the second time, arguably their best hitter. Kind of start him off with off speed, give him a different look than the first at bat.
And Jenkins being very patient at the plate. One out, and he and his team would love to take advantage of this opportunity and at least get that tying run home. And Huntley right here would obviously love to get Jenkins out, not have that situation happen. It was a slow roller short. That's going to be an infield hit. Not much the Trojans could do there. So now runners at the corners for New Palestine. First time they've had a runner advance to third base today.
And that's the beauty of having someone towards the bottom of the lineup be able to get on to lead off the inning, because now you have the top of the order, you have a speedster in Jenkins who most likely might try and take second here. And now you're working first and third, one out, now in the meat of your lineup with Neely up.
I'm sure most people know what he's done on the football field. He took last year off in baseball, back here for his senior year. Fly ball to right. Runner tags. Here comes the throw, and he is out. What a play by Colin Holcomb in right field for Newcastle. Nice play on. Now what happened?
A little bit of confusion going on
That
now.
was 3 out. Okay, yeah. I say because obviously the catch in right field was out number 2 and the out at home was out number 3. But I just look up and all of a sudden I see players for both teams running around like they're herding cats out there or something like that. I wasn't real sure what was going on for a moment. And the home plate umpire kept standing up around the home plate area with 3 fingers in the air and say, guys, that's 3 outs.
Newcastle was trying to get 4 there, but Holcomb with a beautiful play from right field. First, catching the ball first, which is always important, and then a nice one-hop bounce to the catcher Barber at home, who applied the nice tag. Stood in front of the plate. That way he could get to the ball earlier, not wait on it if he stood behind the plate or anything like that. So nice connection there from right field to the catcher, getting that double play.
And I'm sure that coaches would send him again in that situation. It's been a while since I've seen in high school baseball somebody be thrown out at the plate like that on a fly ball. I mean, that was just an excellent play on both ends, and a big one because obviously that eliminates the tying run from scoring, and so Newcastle able to head into the bottom of the inning here and bottom of third and hang on to their lead. So that could end up being, at least the way this game's going so far, that could end up being a huge out.
Absolutely. And you talk about how the Dragons started that inning, getting their 8-man on base, getting them over to second. Then you had first and third situation with 1 out. The meat of your order coming to the plate. And watching that play also, it looked like the ball was actually going to be farther than what it ended up being. And we saw the right fielder Holcomb out there kind of drift back a little bit, and then he came in a few more feet, allowed for a shorter throw, and that could have been a real big difference there, not having to throw it as long as a ways as what it appeared to be when he first was corralling that ball in there from right field.
Yeah, when you're the outfielder in a situation like that, you're thinking about a bunch of different things. Obviously, the most important thing is that you catch the ball to begin with. And then you want to make a good throw so that even if you don't end up throwing the runner out, you also don't want to make an error and allow the other runners to advance. So there are a lot of things that's going through your mind in a situation like that, and it's well done by Newcastle, and I'm sure New Palestine frustrated that they couldn't take advantage of a situation where they had a runner at 3rd and 1 out. Runners to the corners, as a matter of fact. But that is the situation now as we enter the bottom of the 3rd inning. And that's Holcomb at the plate. How about that? I mean, how many times do you see that in the game of baseball at any level where a guy makes a great play to end the previous inning, and then here he is leading off the very next? So that's got to feel good for Colin to be up there in this situation. Hope to start the home half of the 3rd for Newcastle on a positive note, as he has a 2-2 count on him right now. Strikes out swinging. Out number 1.
The 6th strikeout for Walker. And we haven't seen any Trojan hitters so far be able to catch up to the fastball that Walker has.
And I forgot to mention that Holcomb was at the plate when runner at 3rd was thrown out to end the 2nd. So Holcomb now 0 for 1 on the day. And Barber, who struck out swinging his last time up, takes a called strike to begin this at bat. A very solid player for the Trojans, as we've talked about. Senior. It is senior day, by the way, in case you're not aware of that. 9 seniors honored before this game. Yeah, that's quite a few to have on a baseball team. Or any team, for that matter, I guess.
My senior year, we had, I believe, 8 or 9 seniors as well, and now this year they only have 2 or 3. So sometimes you get groups of kids who love to play baseball and they stick together, and you end up having a great line of kids come out for senior day, and then the next year you don't see as many.
Yeah, in high school, that can be the situation for any number of reasons. Players can decide in any given sport not to play all 4 years of high school. Barber draws a lead or a 1-out walk, I should say. But yeah, that has to be rewarding when you do have a group of seniors who have played probably since they were little kids, grow up together, and then if you can have a solid group, your senior year, and maybe win a sectional, at least have some really good memories that you can take with you after you graduate. And now here is Durick. Cody Durick, second baseman, takes a called strike.
We see some action in the bullpen for New Palestine. Looks like Zach Neely is up and throwing right now for the Dragons, another left-hander, after Walker just issued his 5th walk of the game.
Yeah, Durick with a hit his last time up, an RBI. Knocking Newcastle's only 1 run. Had a pretty good cut at that one, but missed 1 and 2. Again, the wind picking up just a little bit. I'm sure the parents and fans appreciating that right now, as we are. As you mentioned earlier, the breeze comes in real nicely. We just have to make sure that our papers are way down, but nothing's going to blow away too far in here, I don't think. Well, a slow roller to 3rd. Checks the runner at 2nd and throws to 1st for the out. That was a good idea. Definitely a good play by the Dragons, by Bain. He did look at 2nd, but didn't feel like he could get that out there, so got the sure out at 1st.
And especially now, getting that 2nd out, having that runner move over to 2nd really doesn't matter that much as long as you don't allow a hit that could score the runner. But with 2 outs now, you have to play at 1st. Really nothing hurt, but now
and that hits him.
A huge bender that you could hear the sound from up
yeah.
here. That was quite the
pretty good thump, wasn't it?
right into that left side of a lot.
Trojans, number 4, Kristen Cheshire.
Cheshire stands in now. The center fielder, who struck out swinging his last time up to end the first inning. Pitch misses inside, ball 1. So a 2-out opportunity for the Trojans here. Evens the count at 1-1. It's a gorgeous day, 78 degrees, lots of sunshine. It's a called strike. Throw to first. Try to pick off the runner there, ends up in right field. So Newcastle now has runners at second and third with 2 outs. Was it a strike? I believe it was a called strike, wasn't it? I thought I heard the umpire. I was looking at the play. I thought I heard the umpire call a strike. I didn't see his hand signal. So he says it's 1-2. Okay, so.
And it looks like Jenkins trying to throw it to first, the first baseman over there. Mack, not sure. He thought about going after that ball, but may have thought it was going to hit the runner diving back into first, so he didn't make a huge attempt to go after it. But a pretty big deal now. You have 2 runners in scoring position for the Trojans.
That can be a tough play to try to make. So, again, instead of having runners at first and second with 2 outs for Newcastle, they now have runners at second and third. So base hit would be really big here for Malott. Or for Cheshire. And that misses.
Cheshire's hanging pretty tough right now, fouling off the last 2 pitches, able to lay off a breaking ball from Walker. Real big at bat here.
Got a piece of that one to stay alive, 2-2. But Walker, obviously he and the rest of the Dragons thinking, okay, let's just get out of this inning without a run scoring. We'll have another opportunity to tie or take the lead in the 4th, and Newcastle, is thinking, let's take advantage of this opportunity. That may fall in, could be trouble in right field, but it is caught. 3 players converging, and indeed the ball is caught in right field for out number 3. So at the end of 3 from Newcastle High School, Trojans lead 1-0 as you're watching 9 Star TV and the ISC Sports Network.
Think David can defeat Goliath. Think again. This Goliath isn't just bigger or faster. She wants it more. So let the Davids take aim. Because once they come face to face with this Goliath, they'll quickly realize they never had a chance.
We are entering the 4th inning. Alongside Jarrett Lewis up here in the press box, I'm Joel Brantingham, and we are glad you are along today for this Hoosier Heritage Conference game. As you take a look at the standings, you talked earlier, Jarrett, about how Greenfield Central, Cougars on top of the HHC. The record, New Palestine right below, or Pentland Heights right below them, and then New Pal, Delta, Mount Vernon, Newcastle, Shelbyville, and Yorktown. But there are a lot of teams right there in the middle.
Yeah, a lot of teams that are right about the same record, probably same skill level, give or take who's better than who. But Greenfield Central also has played 2 less conference games, so I'm sure they'll make up those games that they have missed in order to have the same amount of games as everybody else. But right now they're at the top of that conference with NEWPAL at 3rd and Newcastle towards the bottom.
Very competitive conference. Parity is a common word that people like to use when they see teams with similar records kind of all bunched up there like that. So I think we're going to have some very competitive sectionals. Central, East Central Indiana. Should be a lot of fun. Again, as we enter inning number 4. And pitcher, Jack Walker at the plate. Again, an IU recruit. 2-1 count, looking to start things off on a positive note for New Palestine as Huntley remains on the mound for Newcastle. He's done a solid job pitching, I think, throughout this game.
He really has, and you know, we've talked about Walker enough, having the multiple strikeouts and walks, but Huntley, with just the 1 strikeout, now has 2, but he's had a really good defense play behind him. Not much damage has been done by New Palestine, and Huntley has really had a good control of this game so far on the mound.
That was nice right there. He full Walker. That's got to make him feel pretty good. Be able to get Walker swinging and missing there. Noah Mack, first baseman, number 4 hitter in the Dragons lineup at the plate. First pitch swings. Nice drive to center field, but that will be out number 2. Caught out there by Cheshire. So 2 up, 2 down for New Pal here in the top of the 4th. That brings Raudebush back up there.
Now batting number 25, Eric Raudebush.
Single to right field earlier in the 2nd inning. That was the inning where New Pal.
Well, he made solid hit right there. Just past Malott at short for a base hit. Yeah, he hit the ball pretty solid that first at bat, and that was a solid hit in this at bat as well. So he's 2 for 2.
Yeah, Raudebush has been a real bright spot so far here in the first 4 innings. But we talked about that last inning when he was able to get up, and that was the inning where they had the pop-up bunt for an out and the double play. A real quick inning that went by, and right now he gets on with 2 outs.
Brings up second baseman Grant Weigland. Number 5 hitter in the Dragons lineup, so trying to get something done here is New Palestine with the heart of the order up and trailing at Newcastle 1-0. That just misses. 2-0. Assume that was a teammate giving a little advice. He said, it doesn't have to be pretty. Go up there and take a hack. Well, but you also want to make him throw his strikes, and that just misses inside.
We haven't seen Huntley fall behind yet like he is right now, down 3-0 with 2 outs, and that pitch is off, so now you have first and second.
Saying that's what New Pal wants right here, and they need base runners.
And Huntley's been strong so far, but right there, a 2-out walk, not real ideal, but now you start to get towards the bottom of the lineup. Looks like we have a pinch hitter here also for New Palestine.
Avon Jones, 34 for 26. So, yeah, Jones hitting for Bain, right?
Yeah, it looks like Jacob Bain. He was going to be the next up.
Yep. Now batting number 34, Avon Jones.
Jones, a junior. So we'll see what where your lineup changes. In the bottom of the 4th defensively for New Pal. But Huntley, after striking out Walker, has had trouble throwing strikes. So he checks the runner at second. That pitch misses, 2-0. And New Palestine again being very patient at the plate. It's paid off with 2 outs. The first 2 hitters were retired. And that's a called strike.
Another one of those delayed calls from the umpire. We were just patiently waiting. It looked good from up here.
Yeah, well, I thought maybe it was going to be a ball and he was going to appeal to the infield umpire, trying to determine whether he swung or not. It didn't look like he did, but it was a called strike. 2-1. That's a drive to right center field, but it is going to be caught. The backtrack just a little bit. He almost overran it in right field, Holcomb, but makes the catch. So again, New Palestine, they get a couple guys on, had a little bit of a 2-out rally, but not able to take advantage of it. So Holcomb's had some big plays out there in right field today. Not easy as he's looking right in the sun. And again, the wind kicking up. So here's a look at 3A Blackford sectional, number 24. Blackford and Yorktown, and then Newcastle and Hamilton Heights will square off. Winner of those two games playing each other. And then Delta and Guerin Catholic will square off as well and determine the 3A Blackford sectional championship. So that looks like a quality sectional there. And now a 4A New Palestine sectional. For 10 looks like this. Lawrence North, Warren Central, two Indianapolis schools very close to each other will battle each other, and then two more Indy schools, Cathedral and Tech. Those two winners will play each other. And then Lawrence Central and New Palestine will play each other. So and none of those schools very far apart from each other. The NEWPAL and all those schools really good quality schools too.
Yeah, and it's a real nice advantage for New Palestine also to have that home field advantage, and also to have the bye. So you win that one game, and then you're in the sectional championship on your home field. Absolutely.
Yeah, I'm sure that Coach Lyons, rest of the staff, happy about that, as Zach Neely now is going to take over on the mound. Tell us a little bit about him.
You see the numbers there, just as good as what Walker showed us. Neely with a bit more on the ERA, but still very solid, just over 3. A 3-2 record, 36 strikeouts on the year. So pretty good numbers. Back-to-back lefties coming from New Palestine on the mound.
I say we know he has a good arm in more than one sport.
Absolutely.
To say the least.
A good arm will take you pretty far.
Yes, it will. And that's one thing that the IHSAA is promoting, is that's a called strike to Klein, Logan Klein, third baseman, number 7 hitter. Newcastle lineup is playing multiple sports. High school's interesting, the statistics that athletes have when they reach the college and professional level is how many of them were multi-sport athletes in high school. And as they were growing up, too. It's called strike. Newcastle, there's definitely some moans and groans from the Newcastle crowd down there. Voicing their displeasure at that call. It is inside in the dirt. And I know it's tough. It really is tough, but I think it also turns out to be a good decision for any high school athlete that, if possible, that he or she can play multiple sports. There's a solid hit. Or solid contact, I should say. I didn't mean a hit because it's not a base hit. It was a catch in center field by Giesler. Man, that was hit hard.
Very nice contact from Klein. Just kept carrying, and Giesler kept going back, but able to track it down. Pretty deeply hit ball out there. From here, center field does look very deep.
Yes,
it says
it does.
385 out there, and then 325 down both lines.
There's a called strike to Ridge. Number 8 hitter for Newcastle. And one out here in the bottom of the 4th as that's fouled off to the right, out of play. 0-2, 1-0. Trojans lead New Palestine. It has been a pitcher's duel in this HHC contest on a beautiful Saturday. Upper 70s. We're getting close to the 80-degree mark here as we are. Well, that was, boy, he fooled him on that one, didn't he?
Good morning, good afternoon, and good night.
That's right.
From Zach Neely, 3 pitches. gets the strikeout. Gave him some heat early right there,
Yeah, but
slowed it down.
Yeah, took something off that one for sure.
And Bridge was way out in front of it. So beautiful pitching by Neely to get that second out.
And you mentioned 2 outs and the wind kicking up. You get one out to left field right now, it may help you a little bit. I don't know. That's a called strike to Markham. Sorry, it was a ball. This is a strike, 1-1. I think I said the other one's a called strike. This, 1 ball and 1 strike.
Markham was real patient in his last at bat. Took Walker to a full count and ended up drawing the walk.
Swing and a miss there. 1 ball, 2 strike count. Neely on the mound for NEWPAL. Wow, that was a really good job of pitching, bottom of the 4th. So Newcastle not able to get any runs across. So at the end of 4, score remains Newcastle 1 and New Palestine nothing. Take a look again at the 3rd out. You are watching 9 Star TV and the ISC Sports Network.
It's a long, long way, and you might only get one tiny chance, so you better say yes. We're gonna light up the sky. We're gonna shine like the stars that burn so bright. We'll light up the sky.
Senior day here at Newcastle as the Trojans lead New Palestine in this Hoosier Heritage Conference game 1-0. Entering the top of inning number 5 with Jarrett Lewis. I'm Joel Brantingham. We appreciate you tuning into our broadcast today, which will air, from what I've been told anyway, 2 p.m. and 7 p.m. on Sunday. Might be a good time to stay inside and watch a game if the forecast pans out. For showers and thunderstorms, as they're calling for right now. Maybe some severe weather on Sunday. But anyway, 2 and 7 p.m. Sunday and 7 p.m. Monday as well. Another broadcast coming up Monday. Regular season coming to a close for HSAA baseball. And that pitch is in the dirt as Huntley remains on the mound for Newcastle. No other changes. No changes at all that we're aware of for Trojans defensively. Swing and a miss by Hickman, the shortstop, number 8 hitter for NEWPAL.
Had a chance to look at that banner hanging up of Trey Ball, former Newcastle baseball player, former MLB draft pick as well. Huge bright spot for the Newcastle baseball team during his time here.
Absolutely.
And from both sides of however you want to say it, on the mound and at the plate, hitting and pitching for Trey Ball.
That's really cool what they have over there by the batting cages and so forth, past the Newcastle dugout. List of Indiana All-Stars from Newcastle High School. Evidently got a piece of that.
Didn't sound like he
No,
got a
it
piece of it,
didn't.
but we heard a few people yelling at Hickman to run to first, but umpire's going to say it was a foul ball.
And he made the call right away, and that's a lot of times umpires do have to make that call by hearing it. Not seeing it as many times as impossible. A situation like that to tell for sure by looking if a hitter made contact or not. Most of the time, particularly with the aluminum bats, it's like you can you're going to hear it. You should anyway. So that pitch misses against some moans and groans. After that, ball 4. Hickman tosses the bat aside, and New Palestine has their leadoff hitter in the top of the 5th on base. Brings up a center fielder, Henry Giesler.
Now batting number 16, Henry Giesler.
That pitch that was very close on the outside corner. Barber did his best of kind of framing that ball on the outside corner. May have been just outside a little bit. A few of the fans were happy with the call, and then Huntley not pleased with himself that he gives up the walk. But so far, Huntley has done a nice job on the mound. Only 2 strikeouts, but his defense has helped him, and they might help him here. The ball's just off from the second baseman. A stolen base goes to Hickman.
Yeah, swing and a miss, and definitely not the throw that Barber wanted to make. Now, may not have had a great grip on the ball. It's hard to tell.
And as a catcher, it's so hard trying to first catch that ball, just like if you were an outfielder, to catch that ball and in one smooth motion bring that ball up towards your ear and throw it down to second base.
Because that is, again, the type of play where you do want to get rid of the ball, catch the ball. It's a quick release down to second. But most importantly, you want to make an accurate throw, even if it's late. Because if you make a bad throw, ends up in center field, then the runner not only is safe, but could end up at third or even score in that type of situation. But as it is, New Palestine has the tying run at second base. Nobody out, Giesler at the plate. He has a 2-ball, 1-strike count on him. And he's going to move the runner over with a base hit. Seeing eye hit, if you will, right between the first baseman and second baseman. Not hit extremely hard, but hard enough. Looked like it had some backspin on it maybe as it found its way out of the infield and into right field.
And the second baseman over there, Dakota Durk, you see him kind of hesitate just a little bit. I'm not sure if he would have been able to get over and get that ball before it reached the right field. But, yeah, not a very well-hit ball. Kind of got in on his hands and hit it towards the right field. But
yeah, just kind of squirted into right field. But
New Palestine with no outs now in a first and third situation.
Yeah, definitely the best opportunity that New Pal has had today to score.
And again, the bottom of their lineup is producing runners on base, and now you bring the top of the lineup up with Jenkins.
He takes a called strike. Earlier in the game, New Pal did have a runner at third. That was with 2 outs. He ended up, or with 1 out, I'm sorry. He did end up being called out at the plate, trying to tag up on a fly ball to right. So again, nobody out. No balls, 1 strike on Jenkins, the catcher. Huntley steps off the mound. Does not make a throw to first or anywhere else for that matter. As the Trojans trying to preserve their 1-run precarious lead at this point. And the so Newcastle fans trying to share their opinion and some advice. The home plate umpire, who is probably ignoring it.
Which is something you're almost guaranteed to hear no matter where you go, no matter what game you're at.
And hopefully to a lot of them, they hear people talking but don't understand the words. Kind of like, you know, Charlie Brown's like, wah, 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 wah. Charlie Brown's teacher or something like that. You know, after a while, that's probably what you hear. Or at least should, because focus on the game. As difficult as that may be at times. 2-1. Pitch is fouled off to the right, out of play, as Newcastle has pitcher warming up down the right field line in the bullpen. Can you see who it is? I can't tell for sure.
Looks like 26 might be the number of Jacob Lucas.
Okay. Well, just in case, needs to come in relief for Huntley. That's fouled straight back to the screen. 2-2. There's a count on Colby Jenkins, leadoff hitter for New Palestine. And the Dragons have runners at the corners. Nobody out. Top of the 5th. Great opportunity for them to get on the board here. Swing and a miss. Nice pitch there by Huntley. Strike out, Mr. Jenkins. What a big pitch right there.
A tough battle between Huntley and Jenkins. Run the count full. Kind of playing a little bit of cat and mouse with the runners on base also. but still able to battle through that at bat and strike out the leadoff hitter, Jenkins.
And here's Neely, who is now pitching. Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, Neely. Now 1 out, 2 runners on base opportunity, swing and a miss. Hundley settling down. We talked about he did have some control issues earlier, but seems to be laser focused right now.
He sure is. Taking down Jenkins, and now Neely's down 0-2.
There goes a runner to second. Now throw to home, and he is out. What a great defensive play by New Palestine as they didn't let the ball go all the way through to the second base bag. We'll see here. Cut off.
Yeah, nice cutoff by Dirk, and he even kind of hesitated, kind of double pumped that ball. He almost thought he wasn't going to be able to get Hickman at home, but another beautiful connection between the Newcastle defense, able to get that ball to Barber at home and get the out.
Barber with the tag, and 1-2 is the count. Yeah, that's 2 nice plays that Newcastle has made at home. That if neither of those runners, if at least one of those runners isn't thrown out, it'd be a tie game or perhaps a New Palestine lead.
And another crazy situation where New Palestine has runners on base. They got first and third, 1 out or 0 outs, just like in this instance. And Newcastle is able to get out of it. Right now they have 2 outs and a runner on second, but in previous times Newcastle's been able to get out of it, and just again here able to get the runner out at home.
Tying run at second base, as that's a called strike. Neely out on strikes. Umpire thought about it for a second. I don't think he agreed with it. He kind of had this wow look on his face, but that is called strike 3. So how about that for Newcastle? What a great job. Again, a couple runners on, nobody out. New Palestine had an opportunity they weren't able to take advantage of, and it looked like Newcastle might be in a little bit of trouble, but they got themselves out of it once again. Tribute to the way, as you said, the Trojans have been playing today. They played very, very well in every aspect of this game.
Huntley on the mound has done his part, but the defense behind him has they've really stepped up and prevented New Palestine from scoring. And you got a 1-0 situation here going into the 5th inning. You would think Newcastle would be up more considering the walks from Walker. But a pretty defensive battle, a pitching duel going on right now.
Let's look at the 4A Pelham Heights baseball sectional. This is another good one as Richmond Red Devils will square off against Muncie Central Bearcats to begin things there, playing Pelham Heights. Connorsville, Anderson match up against each other, and then Mount Vernon and Greenfield Central. So that's going to be a really good sectional as well there. Some North Central Conference teams, Hoosier Heritage Conference teams, among others, competing there. So once again, whatever sport it might be, track, tennis, softball, baseball, we hope that you will go out and support, obviously, the IHSAA, all the schools involved. Really hope and encourage you to go out and support these athletes as they wrap up the regular season or begin postseason play, because I can tell you it means a lot. You know, a track meet, the individual athletes and schools, they love to have fans cheering them to the finish line, and even in tennis, they love to see people there supporting them. And like I said, softball and baseball. And if it's cool, grab a blanket, share whatever you need, make yourself comfortable, and support all of our area high school athletes here in the spring as their seasons wind down. And there's a foul pop behind home plate. I believe made it over the screen. Neely got on the mound for New Palestine here as we begin the bottom of the 5th.
And Jenkins, the catcher going after that ball, I believe he had a bandana on earlier, but I think he's ditched it now. No bandana on for the catcher Jenkins, who's played at a very, very well played game behind the plate.
Yes, Huntley hits it to third. So the first is in time. With a nice play over there by Bain.
Who I am. Back in high school, I used to bust it to the dance. Now I hit that FBO with doubles
Now
in
that
my
will
hand. I did half a Zen, 13 hours till I land. Had me out like a light.
bring up Holcomb.
Like a light.
Now batting for the Trojans, number 14,
Right
Colin
fielder.
Holcomb.
For the night, 767 minutes.
Standing in there against Neely, who once again has done an outstanding job on the mound since he came in relief last inning. It's been all business out there and throwing strikes and hoping his team stay in the game. No swing, says the infield umpire standing down the first base line. That's a strike, 1-2 on Holcomb. Been on base once on a walk, but struck out swinging his last time up. That's fouled off down the right field line toward the bullpen. As Lucas, I believe, is warming up down there for Newcastle. Been warming up a while, so I have a feeling he's going to be coming. Oh, I'm sorry, Klein.
Yeah, they had
Okay,
Lucas.
Klein. I'm sorry, warming up down there. Lucas was earlier.
Lucas
but,
was warming up. Yeah, they got Klein, who was playing third base,
So
now in the bullpen.
Yeah, he'll probably come in. We'll see. Fouled off to the right again. Well, he's going to have to chase down all those baseballs over there.
That's the one thing about not actually being in the game, being in the dugout, having to chase down those foul balls. And
Yeah.
you get a situation like here with Holcomb, who kept fouling him off, and now this one gets by.
And swing and miss, throw down at first. Not in time to complete the strikeout, so or I should say, a runner at first base, Holcomb.
Now batting for the Trojans, number 5, Drew Barber.
And the catcher, Drew Barber, the plate for Newcastle. Well, that wind is really starting to pick up now. I mean, more so than it has in this game so far, as I do have to chase a couple of papers flying away here, my lineup cards, lineup sheets. So those are very important, but this is the strongest gust that we've seen so far today. Unfortunately, that's ahead of the front that we're supposed to get on Sunday, bringing those storms we talked about. Can hear doors slamming down below the press box. So yeah, that wind is starting to kick up, and I'm sure that these guys would like to take advantage of it if they can get a ball in the air, particularly to left field. But if it's going to rain and storm again, let it wait until Sunday.
Absolutely.
'Cause
Just like with
man.
Walker pitching earlier, a lot of the Trojan hitters were late on his fastball, fouling balls off towards the right side, and that ball was.
Ooh, that hit him? Yeah, it sure
I'm gonna say
did.
It did, yeah.
Must have brushed him on the back of his shirt.
Ball was caught right behind his back, and Barber looked back at the umpire and said, "Yeah, that brushed my jersey. I'll take first base."
Yeah, he was trying to avoid it. But as we see the flags flying above the right field scoreboard.
But yeah, just like earlier, we were talking about that wind going to left field. These hard-throwing pitchers of NEWPAL with Walker and Neely, the Trojan hitters haven't been able to catch up yet and hit a ball towards left field and let that wind take it.
That misses to Durek, the second baseman.
Durek was the last batter to have a hit for Newcastle, and that was back in the first inning with the RBI single.
Derek would love a hit here, although that's popped to center. Catch is made. Runner is not going to tag. That's out number 1, but again, wind kicking up.
Now batting number 12, Corbin Malott.
There's a catch made by Giesler in center field for out number 1, and Malott at the plate now for Newcastle. Third baseman. Corbin hoping to get 1 runner home. I mean, every run big in this one.
I like Malott being aggressive, ready for that first pitch strike coming in there, just misses it. But a lot of these hitters have been patient, which can be a good thing. But I like his aggressiveness going after that first pitch strike.
Yeah, Neely, he's another guy, a lot like Walker. He doesn't spend a lot of time on the mound. I mean, he gets the ball from the catcher, and he's ready to pitch again.
And kind of just like Mark Burley when he pitched for the White Sox.
Yeah.
They would actually have a timer put up on the TV to see how long it would take him to go from pitch to pitch, and sometimes it'd be 15 seconds, sometimes it'd be 10 seconds, so you always had to be ready because he worked very quick.
Yeah, there are some pitchers that are like that. I mean, literally, as soon as they get the ball, it's like they get the sign, and boom, they're ready to throw it again. And that can really be helpful to you because not a lot of hitters are ready for that. That pitch is fouled off to the right. We've seen a few of those. They've all managed to avoid the vehicles that are parked out there, though, so far anyway. Yeah, and there you go. That's what you like to see. Little kids instead of the, at least if you're a player, you love to see little kids out there running. It's like let them chase after the foul balls, and there's another one that they may have to go chase.
Yeah, the little kids actually like going after the foul balls.
Oh, yeah, they do.
We'll just let them do it.
Yeah.
We can bring them to us.
Exactly. Yeah, as long as they know they have to return them. It's not like in at a pro game where you can't. They're going to call a strike and say that Malott swung. Took a second to get the appeal from the infield umpire, but they got it, and Newcastle is done in the bottom of the 5th. So here we go to the 6th as we take a look again at the third out, and a pitcher's duel here at Newcastle today as the Trojans lead 1-0 on 9 Star TV and ISC Sports Network.
If they want to beat the Warriors.
I'm with the boys making a noise. If they get the right matchup.
If they do meet in the playoffs.
If the Greek Freak is on the floor.
So if you're able to do that, you prove us wrong. If he's hurt, he's hurt.
If I had to bet my money.
If he's 2016 quad.
If you're surprised.
If they continue to lose. If they're firing on all cylinders, anyone can win the whole thing. Let's go.
We do have some defensive changes for Newcastle as we enter the top of the 5th.
Top of the 6th, actually.
Top of the 6th. I'm sorry, you're right. Top of the 6th.
That's all right.
Including a new pitcher on the mound now for the Trojans.
Moving from third to pitching. Looks to be Logan Klein. Corbin Malott, who ended that last half inning with the strikeout, he goes to third, and the pitcher, Huntley, who looked really good today, not allowing a run, a few strikeouts. His defense was huge today for him. He moves to shortstop. So we look at the senior Klein on the mound. Good ERA at 3.7. Not a win or a loss to Klein's record, so you got to think he hasn't appeared in many games. But this is a big one here with the 1-0 lead and going into the top of the 6th inning.
Yeah, his main job is to preserve this lead, as the only run that scored was back in the first inning.
And to think it started with 2 leadoff walks from Walker. Huntley and Holcomb reached base, and Huntley came around on the RBI single from Dakota Durek. And yes, that was way back in the first inning, and we are now in the 6th.
And New Palestine has had, since then, 2 runners thrown out at the plate. So, again, they've had opportunities, and as I said before, if at least one of those runners was safe, if Newcastle's not able to throw, again, at least one of them out at the plate, then we'd have a tie game. And of course, if they were unsuccessful in both attempts, then it would be a NEWPAL lead. I mean, that's the kind of game it's been. That was especially wearing number 19. He reminded me a lot of Joey Votto on that play, on that hit, as that was kind of a Votto-like hit to right field to lead things off for New Palestine and Jack Walker.
Left-handed hitter, red jersey, number 19.
Yeah, a lot of similarities, I thought, right
there. But beautiful piece of hitting from Walker, taking that outside pitch over to left field. And that's the second time we've seen Walker hit one now to left field. He had the double back in the first inning.
I am biased being a Reds fan. In fact, I was down there last night, company I work for. Had a suite just for that game, so I got to sit up in a suite for that. Unfortunately for the Reds, it was a terrible game.
Yes, I was watching the game.
That was an ugly game. If you're a Dodgers fan, then you absolutely loved it because they played long ball.
If you're a home
off
run
of
fan,
Anthony
yes.
DeSclafani. I mean, yeah, Disco got rocked there a little bit. There's a pretty good shot to left center field. That's going to fall in for a hit. And Walker is going to end up at third, and Mack is going to end up at second. So, double. Runners at second, third. Another great opportunity here for New Palestine to tie or perhaps take the lead in the top of the sixth.
Another beautiful situation for the Dragons, just like we've seen before. They now have second and third, nobody out. Looks awful familiar. I believe the last inning they had first and third and nobody out, couldn't do anything with it. And Raudebush, who is 2 for 2, 2 singles on the day. Would love to see another one for him if you're a NEWPAL Dragon.
Well, I was going to say, too, maybe number 19 in red for New Palestine can give a little advice to number 19 for the Reds, as Votto just seems to be struggling. We know he's a great hitter, but and baseball can be a very mental game. I'm sure anybody that knows the game of baseball, has played the game of baseball, is aware of that. And that seems to be the theory with Votto, and it happens to the best of, even experienced major league hitters. Sometimes you just get in a funk as that's taken for a ball. Sometimes, I don't know if it's frustration, what it is, but you just have to work on it. I mean, even pro guys. I mean, Votto, I think, works as hard at hitting as anybody in the major leagues right now. And it's a good lesson for high school and college players, as that's a called strike. Whoa, that ended up being kind of a close play at third base. Walker almost caught napping a little bit over there. Tag was applied, and he just got back to the bag in time. But again, I think a good lesson that a lot of these guys that we're watching play today can take some good lessons from major league players. I mean, baseball is just a funny game. Swing and a little flare toward left field. It's caught. It's on the edge of the grass. Out number 1, that's a big out and big catch there by Huntley.
Now batting number 7, Grant Weaver.
Going back to baseball just being a funny game, and talking about the Reds and Votto. Votto's a guy, he could be batting 200, but his on-base percentage could be a 450
right.
For the amount of times he gets walked and is able to work counts against the pitcher. So baseball certainly is a funky game.
It's a called strike to Wiegand. Grant, the third baseman, or second baseman, I should say, for New Palestine. But, yeah, I mean, you just have to keep working hard. Listen to your coaches. There's a beautiful bunt. The squeeze of throw home is in time. Another runner thrown out the plate by New Palestine as they try to squeeze Walker home, and he is thrown out of the plate. That was a bang-bang play as the umpire was just looking to make sure that the catcher had the ball.
It was a well-put-down bunt by Wiegand. The real interesting thing here is, and I believe he was out, another beautiful play at home for Newcastle, but with Walker, it didn't appear that Walker took off immediately when the bunt was down.
I was just going to ask you that because it looked like he got a late jump on it to me.
It didn't look like a suicide squeeze. It kind of looked like a safety squeeze where Walker's waiting to see where the ball goes and how the pitcher gets to it. But if Walker would have been taking off immediately once that bunt was down, I believe he would have made it there.
Yeah, I completely agree. So that is the third runner that New Palestine has had thrown out at the plate in this game. Obviously huge since they haven't scored any, and Newcastle has only had the one run we talked about scoring way back early in the first inning. That just misses for ball 2. And the defense for Newcastle, this is much better defense than I've seen. I've only seen them play a couple times or so this year, truthfully, but I mean the defense for Newcastle, outstanding. Much, much better than I've seen, and obviously those plays at the plate have been huge. 2-1.
It's just so crazy to think about how many plays at the plate there has been and how many beautiful chances New Palestine has had with runners in scoring position, nobody out, 1 out. And now Newcastle finds themselves with 2 outs.
And there's ground ball to third. Throw is in time. Wow. Way to stay with it. About that. That's, again, a great lesson for any young baseball player. Stay with it. You may not field it cleanly, but just stay with it and make the throw to first. And that's what happened there by Malott. So that gets NewPal out of trouble. 1-0 here as we go to the bottom of the 6th. I mean, this has been a really fun game to watch. I mean, honestly, one of the most fun 1-0 games I think I've watched in a long time at any level because, again, we've seen really good pitching. We've seen, good defense. We've seen, you talked about, and we've mentioned it a number of times, both of us have in this game, that New Palestine has had chances. They've had multiple runners on base with either nobody out, 1 out, and, play at the plate. Newcastle's been able to throw a runner out of the plate or something else has happened, maybe a double play's been turned, something like that, and they've been able to get out of trouble. So credit to Newcastle for good pitching when they needed it and good defense, including those plays at the plate I mentioned. But it has to be frustrating. If you're New Palestine, it has to be frustrating, again, just not able to take advantage of those opportunities. And, I mean, they've not been able to score any runs yet, despite, again, at least 3 guys trying to score and being unsuccessful in those attempts.
The good thing is you have another half inning to try again. So, for NewPal, it's you got to still like the position you're in, only being down 1-0. You got 3 outs to work with, so you can't give up quite yet.
In New Palestine, they have had good pitching too. Jack Walker and now Zach Neely. Those 2 lefties have done an outstanding job for the Dragons on the mound here at Newcastle today. The Trojans, however, as a Cheshire center fielder leads things off here in the bottom of the 6th, swings and fouls that back. They, on the other hand, might be a little bit frustrated at times too in this game because they've had opportunities as well to add on to this lead. And I'm sure they felt ever since the first inning, we've got to score more runs. One run may turn out to be enough, but you obviously can never assume that 1 or 2 runs in any game is going to be enough to win it. So you want to put more on the board, and Trojans will try to do that here in the bottom half of inning number 6. Chase that one for strike 3. Yeah, that was well off the plate.
Number 11, Logan Klein.
And now Logan Klein, who is the pitcher at the plate now for Newcastle. And he is hit by the pitch. Is that the second?
That's the second
batter now
hit
that
by
he's hit?
pitch from Neely. And I was just about to say he's looked really strong on the mound so far.
Because he's not walked anybody.
No walks.
Correct, yeah.
Looks like 5 strikeouts for Neely.
So, yeah, he's pitched well, but he has also hit 2 batters. The last one he hit it, barely hit the back of his shirt, and that one was no doubt.
And it's so funny for both pitchers now, with Walker and Neely, they're striking kids out, not giving up any hits. There's only been 1 hit for Newcastle, but you got hit by pitches, you got plenty of walks to talk about. So just a very interesting stat line for the NEWPAL pitching.
And here's Gavin Ridge, designated hitter, as a throw to first. Ooh, that was kind of close, actually, a lot closer than I thought it was going to be when Neely initially threw over there.
Looks like a courtesy runner, a pinch runner over there for Newcastle also. Cole McDaniel. Might be a speedster, so Neely now thrown over twice is going to keep an eye on him.
Ridge has reached on a walk. He struck out swinging his last time up. That barely missed, hitting him in the front of his jersey.
I don't know how that pitch missed him, honestly.
I don't either. I think he thought the same thing. He was trying to avoid getting hit, but looked like he was sure he was going to be hit by that pitch. So 2 balls, no strikes. This is really the only time in this game that we've seen Zach Neely have any sort of control problems. And Coach Sean Lyons out there to talk to him right now, or is he going to? I doubt he's going to make a pitching change, but we'll see. Doesn't look like it. Just again a little pep talk.
Remember the last time a NEWPAL coach visited the mound, Walker ended up reeling and dealing. Showed more command, striking kids out. So we'll see how Neely reacts to the mound visit this time.
I have a feeling Coach Lyons would like to see Neely, the rest of the way, just finish this game. Find out, but definitely, as I mentioned before, if you're New Palestine, you don't want to see Newcastle score any more runs, so you can have a chance to at least tie things in the top of the 7th. Pitch is high for a ball. Looked like McDaniel might be taking off. At least he might have wanted New Palestine to think that he was going to run as they throw to first again, but he's back in time. Wind continues to kick up and blow out toward left field. One nothing. Trojans with the lead. Called strike, 2-1. Just 1 out with that runner at first for Newcastle. And that's ball 4. Or was 3-1. I'm sorry. I think I said 2-1. I stand corrected. That was the 3-ball, 1-strike count he had on him. That was ball 4. So first I was wondering, like, wait a minute, he only has 2 on the first, but because that has happened. I'm trying to remember. It wasn't all that long ago as Chandler Markham now stands in for Newcastle. I was watching, maybe even been a Reds game where somebody thought it was ball 4. It only ended up being ball 3. He tossed the bat aside and started going down to first base, and then catcher says something. The umpire's like, no, come on back.
And then the batter ends up striking out.
Yes.
Most likely. That's how it always happens.
Uh-huh. Yeah, I mean, he wasn't trying to show up the ump. It wasn't, situation where he thought that, he had 3 ball count on him, thought for sure it was ball 4. I had ball 4, but that can happen once in a while, just like sometimes fielders make a catch and they think it's out number 3 and they toss the ball in the stand and there's a runner on base and ends up a bad situation. That's a called strike to Markham. 1-2. Still only 1 out. Trojans would love to get at least one of these runners in, add some insurance, if you will, though that's popped up in the infield. An easy catch made at shortstop by Hickman. Out number 2 and a big out for the Dragons. brings up the shortstop, Rylan Huntley.
Trojans number 1, Rylan Huntley.
And Huntley today has reached base twice. Once, sorry. The walk to score to start the game ended up scoring. Hits, so again, he has the only run scored for Newcastle today, at least so far. That misses for ball 1. In a gorgeous day. Still haven't quite hit the 80-degree mark, but we're getting close. Not that I'm eager to reach that, because again, like I said, I've got to go out and mow today after we're done here and get that taken care of, because tomorrow forecast not looking great for any outdoor activities in the yard or whatever. There's a ball to center. Nice catch. How about that? That was a heck of a play by Giesler out there for New Palestine. So Newcastle strand a couple runners. Here we go to the 7th inning. The Trojans try to hang on here to their 1-0 lead at the end of 6 on 9 Star TV and ISC Sports Network.
Ever wonder why the quarterback is often the best-looking guy on a team? Think about it. Who gets the ball in the playground in the 4th or 5th grade? The handsome kid. The girls think he's cute, the boys think he's cool, and this process begins. There's even a term for it. It's called quarterback face.
You dropping off or picking up?
You know, the thing about dynasties, people say they don't like them, but they watch them. It's like the Powerball. People play it because they want to be.
We head to the 7th inning. 1-0 Newcastle. And with Jarrett Lewis on this beautiful Saturday, I'm Joel Brantingham, and it has been a fun game to watch. I mentioned a moment ago. Some people might look at a 1-0 score in a high school baseball game and think, wow, that was boring. Well, no, it hasn't been. Not at all. And we've had 3 Newcastle players thrown out of the plate today. They've had opportunities to score, but Newcastle has made some outstanding defensive plays, and both teams have had good pitching.
We've seen great pitching.
Yeah,
between
outstanding.
Huntley, he started the game for Newcastle, really pitched to Jim, and now you got Logan Klein coming in, another senior.
And he is trying to nail this game down for his team today. And NewPal, they've had, at least a couple of innings where their leadoff hitter has gotten on base via Walker hit.
Yeah, early on, it was mostly just 3 up, 3 down for New Palestine. They get their leadoff man on. They get runners in scoring position with 0 or 1 outs, and Newcastle ends up toughing it up their defense, getting plays at the plate, and they have not seen a drag and run come across the board yet.
Starting to see a few more clouds roll in here, too. There's a fly ball to right field. I'm sorry, fly ball to shortstop. Excuse me. I saw the right fielder fall down. That's why I was thrown off for a moment as the catch is made by Hundley at shortstop. Because as soon as the ball was hit to right field, Holcomb, or as soon as the ball was hit, Holcomb, the right fielder, starts running in, and he just slipped and fell for no reason because the ball wasn't even close to it. It was like ended up being caught by the shortstop. I just thought that was kind of interesting. I just happened to notice him start to come in, and he kind of slipped and fell. So that pitch just fouled back to the screen.
I've seen a few players actually slip and fall. Earlier, there was a hit by Walker that was to left field, and the left fielder kind of got turned around, ended up falling down. Walker made it to second base, but a few guys now have fallen down in that outfield grass.
Giesler, center fielder, is at the plate now for New Palestine. 1 out. He has a no ball, 2 strike count on him, and the Dragons trail here at Newcastle 1-0. There's a solid hit, and it will fall into right field. I mean, he hit it solidly. I wasn't sure whether it was going to make it over the infield or not, but it did, and into right field for a base hit. So there is the tying run for New Palestine at first base. 1 out.
Same result for Giesler that he had in his last at-bat, a single to right field. See the same thing here as it just fell over the second baseman. And again, you have production coming from the bottom of the lineup for New Palestine, and you hope to see the top of the order with Jenkins and Neely coming up, able to do something here if they want to head into the bottom of the 7th.
There's a base hit to left field as it just got by Malott at third base. Runners are going to make it all the way to second and third. Heads up base running there. And Giesler slides into third without a throw. And Jenkins is at second base. So another outstanding opportunity, and obviously New Palestine has to take advantage of this if they want to either tie or take the lead. And here's the pitcher, Zach Neely.
A real bad break for Markham out and left. You know, if he doesn't have that ball bobble away from him, you're only looking at first and second. But now 2 runners in scoring position. Again, an awful familiar situation for New Palestine. Let's see what they do.
Fouled off at the plate. They look to be aggressive right now at the plate against Klein. I don't know if they're just seeing something in the way he's pitching, but it does look like New Palestine has seemed really confident in this inning going to the plate, that they feel like they can get some hits off of Klein.
And that's the thing about baseball. You get a different right-handed pitcher up there, and it's just something about how you feel. Like, you know, when you get up to the plate, you might attack the pitcher differently, and it might end up having a whole lot better result.
It could be velocity. It could be that you just see the ball better as a hitter, as that is a called strike to Neely, 1 and 2. Release point. I mean, there are so many different reasons why some hitters hit better against some pitchers than others, and why they see pitches better and can make better contact than against other pitchers.
Awful close pitch there.
Yeah.
Barely paints the outside corner.
Yeah, obviously the Newcastle crowd felt that should have been called strike 3. That's 2 and 2 on Neely. And the dirt ball 3, now full count. And the tying run at third base. Go-ahead run at second. And both crowds seem to be really getting into this game now. It has been a really good, a really fun game to watch. And we have drama in the 7th. There's a hit to right field. That's going to score 1. And that will be it, as New Palestine has tied the game. Giesler scores. It's 1-1. Well, finally, for NewPal, they have to feel like a huge weight has been lifted off their shoulders, as they've been in this situation at least a couple of other times today, right? Where they had runners on second and third, at least a couple of runners on, nobody out, maybe 1 out. A very similar type situation that before didn't work out as well, and this time it does for the Dragons, as Neely going to be pinch run for at first base by Vince Dant. It's a junior.
We haven't seen a whole lot of hits in this game, but it feels like a majority of them have been opposite field hits. Neely from the right side, able to poke that one over to right field.
Yeah, I don't think he could have placed it any better anywhere than he did that one right there. We're tied at 1, so we will have at least a bottom of the 7th. And a pitch to big number 19, Jack Walker. Started the game on the mound, moved over to first when Neely came in to pitch.
Walker's had 2 opposite field hits as well, both of his going into left field, a double and a single.
Wow,
they're throwing pitches out there. Those last 2 have hit the outside corner,
yeah.
So you'd think he'd be able to poke one over to left field like he has before, but not be able to pull a trigger so far.
Yeah, we talked about a very Joey Votto-like hit last time, and well, he had a feeling he knew where the pitch was going to be, And he was pretty much right, but he just couldn't hit it. He couldn't make contact with it. And I'm sure he would have loved to have done what he did last time. If he could have made contact, he might have been able to get it over third base and into left field, which would have given NEWPAL the lead. However, Walker not able to do that. And now 2 outs. And the Dragons with still an opportunity to take the lead in this game.
That's a huge out for Logan Klein also on the mound.
Oh,
able to get a kid who's 2 for 3, now 2 for 4 on the day, able to sit him down and get that second out.
Mack obviously a dangerous hitter as well, who today has not reached base. 0 for 3, as a matter of fact. But again, an opportunity here to give his team at least a 1-run lead as the Dragons have runners at the corners, and he asks and receives timeout from the home plate umpire. And a regroup here as he stands in against Klein. It's way off the plate, but that was where the catcher set up. They did that on purpose, obviously hoping to get him to chase it, but Mack did not. 1-1. One's on the scoreboard. 1-1 count, 1-1 game. Swing and a miss. Nasty pitcher going to throw to second. Now they're going to throw home, and he is safe. They call him safe this time. Once again, the throw was cut off before it got to the second base bag. And they throw home, and Jenkins scores. They call him safe. Again, a very close play at the plate. Looks similar to the last time that NEWPAL
And what a crazy sequence here. We just got to watch the replay. The runner from first ends up stopping, and Huntley cuts it off, doesn't go after that runner, decides to throw home, and it's a close play, but I think he was in there.
I think so, too.
And Barber wanted to argue. A few of the Newcastle Trojan fans wanted to argue, but from our angle, it looked like Jenkins just slipped in there and got that run in.
Wow. And potentially, anyway, a huge run for the Dragons. Obviously, the tying run was the most important one to keep the game alive. Sent to bottom seventh, and there's a hit down the left field line. That's going to score another run. And it's 3-1 NEWPAL, and it's going to end up being a double for the Dragons. Mack pulls in there at second base. Wow, what an inning. A lucky 7th inning for the NEWPAL Dragons, as they had not scored at all until this inning, and now they've played at 3. And there's yet another runner in scoring position.
Just like in any other sport, momentum is huge. And right here, Mack stepped to the plate after NEWPAL was able to plate that second run. A whole lot of confidence and drilled that ball right down the left field line.
Yeah, went right between third baseman and the bag and went down the line, ended up being a double, as now Raudebush, left fielder, at the plate. And he also could end up being NEWPAL starting quarterback when football season begins in mid-August or late August. There's a ground ball to first. This should end the inning. And it does. However, 3 runs scored by NEWPAL in the top of the 7th. After opportunity they weren't able to take advantage of earlier in the game. But do they ever take advantage of opportunities when they needed to the most? Otherwise, they would have ended up with a loss in this one. And now they're on the other side. They're the team with the lead that's trying to hang on and keep Newcastle from coming back. And now the Trojans, this is certainly, Jared, a situation that they've not been in today at all.
No,
trailing. No. They've been trying to protect the lead, maybe add to it, but now they're in a situation where they have to score at least 2 runs to keep this game going.
And the Newcastle pitching was tremendous, and NEWPAL really just rode that wave. They got a lot of things going their way, putting 3 runs in that 7th inning. So yeah, a whole brand new different ball game. You're going to see Coach Tony Gregory of Newcastle probably put some pitch hitters in, have some guys ready to pinch run. But yeah, what a crazy turn of events. You talk about all the opportunities NEWPAL had in the probably from innings 3 to 6 where they couldn't get anything going, couldn't get any runs in. And now in this 7th inning, they were able to do just that.
And again, as I mentioned earlier in this broadcast about how baseball is such a funny game, talked about how Newcastle was able to throw out 3 different runners at the plate before this inning, prevent NEWPAL from scoring. They had 2 plays at the plate in the top of the 7th, and in both cases, the Dragons runners scored. So again, NEWPAL 3-1 lead here in the bottom of the 7th, which Newcastle's probably not expecting to have it bad here in the bottom of the 7th. They're certainly hoping they wouldn't have to anyway. But that is a reality. As at the plate right now is Holcomb.
Beautiful pitch there
Fielder, yeah.
from Neely. Threw the fastball on the first one. Threw the big breaking ball there for the second pitch. Now has Holcomb down 0-2, who's already struck out twice today.
Yeah, he reached on a walk back in the first, but like I said, since then he struck out in the 3rd and struck out again in the 5th, swinging in both instances. And he's behind in this at bat, 1 ball and 2 strikes. That's in the dirt to even the count at 2-2. Neely again on the mound for NEWPAL, hoping to nail down the win. And he would be the winning pitcher. Swing and a miss. 1 out for Newcastle in the bottom of the 7th. And Neely's done an outstanding job on the mound. He was just trying to keep his team in the game earlier, and like I said, now he stands to be the winning pitcher.
Yeah, Walker showed some bright spots, but he also showed some struggles. Neely, besides from 2 pitches that he's hit batters, or 2 separate times he's hit a batter, and then just 1 walk, he's struck out, I believe, 6 at least.
Barber, who was hit by a pitch his last time up, lines that down the left field line. I mean, it looked like it was riding right on the chalk. And that is a double for Barber, a solid hit. And a nice one. I mean, to me it looked like it was right on the chalk
it was
line.
Awful close. I think we saw some chalk, come up from the ground. We'll try and catch this replay.
Once it got past there on
Dakota Durant.
Yeah, it looked like right over the bag and right down the left field line.
That's a huge hit. I mean, obviously you bring the tying run to the plate, but it's also only the second hit that Newcastle's seen in this game, and Dakota Durek, who's up to bat, produced the other one way back in the 1st inning. So, from the 1st inning, you get your first hit, and now your second hit comes all the way here in the 7th inning.
Yeah, that could be huge for the Trojans. One ends up in the dirt, 1-1. And as I mentioned, start this inning, an unfamiliar position for Newcastle. They've had a lead, or they did anyway, the entire game from bottom of the 1st to the top of the 7th, and then NEWPAL scores those 3 runs. It looks like he's going to have room and does make the catch in foul territory. Catcher Jenkins staying right there with that. That's a huge out right there for NEWPAL.
It certainly is. I think Dirk just got a little bit too under it, popped it straight up to Jenkins. 2 outs now. Malott has struck out twice also, and he was hit by a pitch by Walker back in the 3rd. Not a lot of balls put in play by Newcastle.
Oh, and that just misses high from Neely. Again, trying to get one last out, preserve the come-from-behind win for NEWPAL. Swing and a miss by Malott. Other hand, Newcastle just hoping to get guys on base. Get a 2-out rally going. A lot of swings and misses on that one. 1-2.
Neely likes the position he's in. 1-2 now with 2 outs. He's going to rear back and throw. I'm not sure what that was there.
No, I'm not sure what that was either. Way inside. Let's look at the umpire like, wait a minute, what happened there?
There's another pitch that also ended up being caught behind the batter.
Yeah, it just slipped. I mean, there was, obviously no intent to hit him or send a message or anything like that. It's just one of those things that happens. That was way inside, too. Watt kind of looking out there at Neely.
Neely thought it was strike 3, but just ran a little bit too inside towards the knees. Kind of buckled Malott up a little bit.
Now it's a full count. Pitch, solid base hit to center field. They going to send him? Yep, they're going to send him home. Well, no, put on the brakes. Looked like at first that Coach Gregory was going to send him, but then threw up the stop sign.
Coach Gregory was looking at Giesler come in on that ball, and it bounced perfectly into Giesler's mitt, and he was ready to wind up and throw that ball to center. And I think he would have had the runner by a good margin, but
and not how you want to end the game, especially because now you've got the tying run on base and the winning run at the plate. Tristan Cheshire, center fielder up there, hoping to play the role of hero here. But not on that pitch. Popped up, foul territory, third base side, catch is made. The Dragons come from behind to beat the Trojans here at Newcastle today by the final score of 3-1. Beautiful Saturday for baseball. In fact, they are playing 2 conference games, as the next one, NEWPAL, will be the home team. But in this one, the Dragons win 3-1. And again, Jared, I thought a really good game all the way around by both teams. We saw some outstanding pitching today. We saw some defense. Newcastle played really good defense. They threw 3 runners out at the plate in the first 6 innings that preserved their 1-0 lead, as well as good pitching and so forth. Didn't get the hitting they probably wanted to see and maybe needed to have in this game. Newpalstein, on the other hand, despite being frustrated at not being able to take advantage of certain opportunities and mention those plays at the plate that didn't work out for them, they stayed with it. They had another golden opportunity they took advantage of in the 7th inning, ended up scoring 3 runs in the top of the 7th, and then Neely was able to come in and nail it down for the Dragons. And wow, what a game, and some drama there. That's always fun to see, a little bit of drama in the 7th inning. Obviously not quite so much fun for Newcastle as it was for NEWPAL, though.
A real funny game. The first 6 innings were completely different than this last inning, the 7th inning, which we just saw. You know, we saw great pitching on both sides. Huntley, who started the game, pitched a real solid game, had great defense behind him. He talked about all the plays at the plate where they got Dragons out, preventing any runs from scoring. And then Klein came in relief, was in line for the save, but ended up blowing the save. But he pitched pretty good until the Dragons just caught fire and really had a solid 7th inning, putting 3 runs on the board. And for their pitching, Walker, which has a really interesting stat line. We'll try to look at it a little bit here, but started off with the 2 walks to begin the game. One of those ended up scoring. That was the only run for Newcastle. But Walker, after that, looks like he had 6 strikeouts, but also added 3 more walks and a hit by pitch. So quite the stat line, having the same amount of strikeouts and walks. And then Neely, who came in relief, was really solid. Kind of blew away some of those Newcastle hitters, just like what Walker did at some points. But a game that included a little bit of everything. We saw great pitching early on, but towards the end, we finally got to see a little bit more contact being made, some balls put into play, and quite the conference matchup, quite the game that we saw here at Sunnyside Elementary in Newcastle.
I have a feeling, and I really hope that the sectionals that these teams are going to be participating in and other area teams are going to be participating in are like this, are competitive, are fun, come down to the end, and I think that's what you're going to see once sectionals get underway next week. But again, this game being broadcast 2 p.m., 7 p.m. on Sunday, and again 7 p.m. on Monday, with the next broadcast coming up on Monday as well. And go out and support your area high school teams, baseball teams. The regular season winds down. Sectionals, as I mentioned, coming up. Softball, track, tennis, all in postseason play now. So let's hope for same type of weather throughout the
Absolutely.
the next couple of weeks that we're seeing today, because it's 82 degrees as we end this game with the breeze and just a picture-perfect day. All right, thanks to everybody involved. Appreciate Greg Rexstraw and everybody else giving me an opportunity to broadcast this game. Hope to have more opportunities in the future. And Jarrett, great working with you.
Absolutely.
Congratulations, by the way, on graduating from Ball State.
Well, I didn't graduate. I finished my first year.
Oh, your first year. Okay.
Yeah,
I thought
that's
you
what
were
it was.
done. I'm sorry,
No,
but
no,
you're
no.
in. Okay.
I wish that was the case, but
I thought maybe because you said you were finished, I thought maybe you meant you were finished, but okay. Well,
Just
anyway,
1 year down.
Congratulations on the first year down,
Yep,
and
absolutely.
rest
Thank you.
coming from a fellow Ball State graduate. So again, thanks to everybody involved, and New Palestine comes back to win this one 3-1 on 9 Star TV and ISC Sports Network. For Jarrett Lewis, I'm Joel Brantingham. Have a great weekend.